And he said, Georgia, I took a look at the contract. He said, how much do you believe in yourself? Now granted, this publisher was the only music industry person I knew in town. And Tripp asked me, how much do you believe in yourself? And I said, I do. He said, you think you've got a career in this? And I said, I really do. And he said, then don't sign this contract. He's going to lock you up for 20 years. And it's like a slave labor contract. It's going to take a lot of work and time to negotiate. And I've worked with this man, and he's not going to give on certain things. So don't sign this contract if you believe in yourself. And I said, I do believe in myself. I won't. So I didn't sign it. And I felt like I was starting from square one. He was the only business person I knew, but it was the best decision I ever made. Because as I started making my way, it's about being smart, getting all the information you can. First of all, never sign a contract without a lawyer. There are reasonable people out there. Just don't. It's what they leave out that you don't know that's going to hurt you. Okay, so there are a lot of things I want to cover. Another lesson I've learned is to keep your chops up. How many artists are out here? Okay, and you practice all the time, right? Because I don't. And my voice gets weak when I don't sing. And I remember I went to a show one night, and it was a big, big superstar show, and my husband happened to know him. This gentleman, the artist, invited us to an after party, and they had a stage set up, and the artist said, hey, Georgia, why don't you go up and sing a song? And he had other big artists there, and it was like this amazing night to network. And I was weak because I hadn't been singing, and I said, no, I can't do it. And that was such a huge lesson for me. And I haven't seen that artist again, and I thought, you never know when those moments are going to come. What is the definition of success when preparation meets opportunity? Stay prepared, because you never know. I mean, all these wonderful things that have happened in my career came out of left field. I'm targeting this. I think this is what's going to make me the money, and then this happens. And I go, oh. So planting seeds, just keep your eye on the ball, working. I'm here to talk about Gary's masterclass and what he wanted me to focus on. He left me notes. How many of you are songwriters? Okay, good. And artists, how many of you are also artists? Great. So what I wanted to focus on tonight is the etiquette for co-writing. When you get into the room with a pro, what do you do, what do you not do? Okay, if you are the writer-artist, bring ideas. Bring ideas. I show up to every appointment with a computer full of titles or pieces. I never show up, if there's a writer who's bigger and more successful than I am, I never show up and go, so what do you got? Because who the hell am I? So it is the job of the person who is a little less established to always be, have ideas. We don't have to write your ideas. The pros might not, what it does, it opens up that you're willing, you've got ideas, you're prepared, and if the pro doesn't see how to write that, they'll start throwing ideas out too, and then it becomes a two-way street. But never just come unprepared. There was an artist that wrote with a friend of mine. She had a record deal. He had a major publishing deal. He was a big hit writer. And she came in without a guitar, without a pen or paper, computer. She just came in and sat down. He said, where are your tools? And she said, oh, I'll just remember it. And he goes, get out of my office. And I know that sounds really harsh, but it's legendary, that story. Because you have to, it's about building relationships. Every time you get in the room with a pro, it's not about, this has to be the big song, so I feel this pressure to have to deliver. It's not about that. It's about your energy. It's about being calm, knowing you have a right to be there, being confident, and being easy to work with, because what they're going to remember from that session is what it felt like. And if you're difficult and if you're scared, you're never going to see them again, so you're pushing all this stuff on them, and you're just nervous energy. It's going to be tough, and I know it's hard not to be nervous, but it's about settling down and building a rapport. And so if you're an artist, writer, bring ideas. The pro writer's job is to help you write your song. So if it starts going in a direction that doesn't feel right for you, if you're the artist and you're working on your record and I'm writing with you because I'm trying to get something on your project, it's your obligation to speak up if it's not going the way you want it to. If it takes a left turn, you go, I just wouldn't do that. Because what happens is sometimes I'll work with artists and they don't want to interrupt me, and I'm going, I think it's going well because I think they're into it because I don't know otherwise. And we finish it, and at the end of the day, the worst thing a pro can hear is the new artist saying, well, who do you think can record this? And then that puts it's like I've spent my day with you. I work with pro writers every day to pitch to other people, but I'm writing with you because you're a special artist. That's why we're in the room. So it's really up to you to speak up if it's not going the way you want it to. There's a nice way to do that. Let's see, other notes. Let's see. Gary wrote, if you're not a writer, but your label is trying to turn you into one, let the pro lead, add when you can. This is something that I really believe in. Don't let your ego get in the way of a good idea. Once you settle on an idea, you and the other writer, it's about the song. It's not about your ego or their ego, and it's about what's best for the song. And sometimes you'll feel like, oh, I'm not contributing enough, and they're running with it. And if they're running with it, the pro, let them go, let them run, don't get in their way. The best thing you can do is stay quiet sometimes. Is this going okay? And let them do their thing, because, like I said, unless you don't like where it's going, you have to speak up. But sometimes it takes time to wrap your head around what's going on. The first time I wrote with Gary Burr, I didn't know him yet. I had a record deal, and I had this idea, and he started running with it, and I couldn't catch up. I just didn't know what to say, and I thought, oh, it's my one chance with him. I don't want to look like a loser. But I just kind of let him run, and it turned out to this really wonderful song. And I had a little bit to do with it, but not a lot. So I called him, and I said, Gary, I said, I feel like, in town, you know what the shares are. It's equal depending on how many people are in the room. That's what the shares are. 2 people is 50-50, 3 people is 33, and 33% for each of you. And I said, I felt like you did so much of that work, I want you to take more than 50%, whatever you think is fair. You did the majority of that. And he said, Georgia, if you weren't in the room, that song wouldn't have got written. And next time you might run, and I might not know how to see it yet. So it's about relationship, it's the ebb and flow, it's about finding people that you work well with, that the energy is good, and you can back off and be an editor sometimes you're the one who runs with it, and that's about finding the magical partners. And the very next time I did write with Gary, I knew what to do, and I was running, and he actually said to me, okay, I'll catch up soon, just keep doing what you're doing. And I thought, yay! Because it is like that, and it's about relationships, and sometimes I'll go to events. I just came back from 2 songwriter festivals, and the very last hour gets very stressful to me. It was so amazing, both it was San Francisco, the West Coast Songwriters event, and the Durango Expo, and they're both amazing events. But the last hour gets really stressful for me, because we were on the panel, and we're about to leave, and suddenly all these people came up with their CDs. I don't know if I'll ever see you again, and it was just so frantic, and it just was scary. And just know, when you run up to someone and say, here's my CD, it's terrifying for industry people. What I love is if somebody goes, hi, I just wanted to meet you, my name is blah blah, and I get your first and last name, and you leave me with a good impression. The best chance if I get to hear your stuff through the event, because they have people perform. And they have listening sessions, or we critique songs, so we get to hear what people do. The best thing you can do is give me your first and last name and give me a card. And if there's something about you that I really liked, whether it was your smile, whether it was you were just so cool and nice or funny, I'll look you up. And I think a lot of industry people do that because there's no pressure. We're at home, we check you out on our own time, and we see what you really do without having the pressure of having to respond right in front of you. So that's one thing about, it's a long game, this business. So when you feel like this is my only chance to see this industry person, you're being short-sighted. If you're good, just be cool. Just be cool. I went to concerts when I was 12 years old, and Kenny Rogers was on stage, and I'm like, oh my God. I said, I'm gonna meet him one day. Well, actually, I never have. That's not a good example. But I see these big stars, and I never go, I gotta meet them right now, because I don't know. I just always knew I'd be a singer on a stage with those kind of people. I just knew it. And I just kind of did my work, and it's been happening. And I was writing with Gary Burr, and then years went by. He asked me out on a date. It went really well. We're dating. He gets a call from Kenny Loggins, and he goes, Kenny said, I want to start a band. Do you know a good girl? A singer-songwriter. Because I want to do a trio with 2 guys and a girl, and he loved Gary. And Gary said, I'm seeing somebody if you want me to send her some, or have you hear her stuff. So I had spent my years focusing on songwriting and making really great sounding demos. And the day I sent an email to Kenny Loggins, I had a really great song I was really proud of. It sounded really good. He wrote back and said, wow, that's really heartful. Heartful, not hurtful. And it's like all my career, I'm planning, and I have little moments like that. I'm upstairs, and Carole King is rehearsing for a show with Gary and Jim Photoglow. They're downstairs rehearsing. We were all scheduled to do a Bluebird show, the 4 of us, and I had never met Carole. I was really excited about this show. And I just stayed out of the way. I was upstairs, and Gary comes upstairs and goes, Carol, I want you to come downstairs. And I go, why? And he goes, she wants to rehearse with you. She wants you to learn her songs, and she wants to learn harmonies to your songs. And I was like, oh, wow, okay. And I went downstairs, and it went so well that now I join her on the road. I play guitar and sing backup for her, and we have this rapport. But it's from kind of just showing up and staying out of the way. And she kind of checked, she checked me out from a distance. But people don't want to feel that frantic, nervous energy from you because it scares them. And here was a great lesson I learned. I did the Bluebird one night with Gary Burr, Michael McDonald, Mike Reed, and Jim Photoglow. They called me up to sing a song. I sang one song, and after the show was over, Michael McDonald, who I love, he said, Guy, how do I hear more of your songs? That was really good. And I said, I'll send you my record. He said, that would be awesome. He asked for it. I didn't go, here's my record. He asked for it. So he gave me his mailing address, and here's where I made a mistake. I sent him the CD, and in the letter I wrote, thank you so much, I hope you like it, and I'd love to write a song with you sometime. So I didn't put, somebody mentioned, I don't know if it was Rick, somebody said, put a period at the end of your statement, say thank you, and leave it alone. And I've gotten, I said at the end, I ended with a question, which means when he opened that, he saw that, and it's a lot of pressure. People are very busy. Michael McDonald's on tour. He writes with his own people. He doesn't need a new co-writer. And when he saw that, and I don't know what he thought, but I know from experience when people do that to me, they send me a perfectly lovely letter, and then they end it with a request, and then I don't respond because I don't want to say no, so I don't get to respond to the beautiful part. And had I left that last sentence off, he would have heard it and been able to freely respond or not. If he didn't like it, he wouldn't have. If he liked it, he could have easily have said, Georgia, great stuff. And then the conversation has started and a relationship formed. But it was cut off. And that was a big lesson for me. When you ask something of somebody, you request it, it's scary. If you know you're good and you know you're here, but you're going to stay the course, just know that you'll see these people again. They're going to see you on a professional basis. And just treat your business that way.